Hi there, this is Dr. Wendy Coughlin. I am a licensed mental health counselor with a PhD in psychology and several decades in long-term recovery. So I'm here to talk today about the sequel, Step 4S. What is the sequel? It's a revision of the 12 steps to carry you a little bit further beyond abstinence and just the basic wonderful attributes of being in recovery from substance use disorders or addictive disorders of any kind. Could be a behavioral disorder, or eating, shopping, gambling. It could be a substance use disorder. We're pretty much all the same when it comes down to having been addicts and getting into recovery. And those first 12 steps do an amazing job of helping restore us to sanity, as I speak of in the second step of the sequel. And then we can establish some solid ground. We can find healthy places to live, healthy people to interact with. We can improve our own physical health. We can really get a jumping off spot to move into the rest of our life. If we've been sober, if we've been abstinent, if we've been in recovery for a couple of years, we probably have a pretty good sense as to how to stay that way. Now it's time to start building recovery capital. What's recovery capital? It's the good stuff. It's taking your assets, talents, and capabilities and beginning to develop those. So, sequel step 4S is take an inventory of your assets, talents, and capabilities. Instead of looking at the exact nature of your wrongs, we're now looking at the exact nature of your rights. So it's kind of the logical next step in my mind. So what are assets? Assets are the basic stuff that you probably have gained through working the first 12 steps, physical health and wellness being chief among them. The ability to dress as becomingly as possible, to wear the world like a loose garment, to take life one day at a time, kind of mental attitudes. Those are assets. Hopefully you have a roof over your head and a place to sleep that's comfortable and clean. That's an asset. Hopefully you have the capacity to remember from one moment to the next and to predict your behavior. That's an asset. You probably have developed a social circle or rekindled the social circles you once had. Those are assets. You may have the support of your family of origin. That's an asset. And if you don't have the support of your family of origin, hopefully you have a family of choice, people that have become close to you as you've moved forward in your recovery. And there's many more types of assets. A lot of people think simply of money, and yeah, money's an asset too. If you have financial stability, that could really be an asset. For me, I had a master's degree when I got into recovery, so that was truly an asset. I had a good bit of education that let people presume I was a lot more functional than I actually was. But they didn't know that, so that was good. And I took that asset and I used it to move forward. Some people assets are their skills. Skills developed maybe during their using days, maybe before. And they may be mundane skills, or they may be very highly qualified skills. I mean, some people get into recovery and they're surgeons. They may have lost their medical license, but they have those skills. Some people may have owned companies. Some people may have been landscape designers or yard guys, nail technicians, nannies, whatever it is that you have been doing in the past, that you have a skill doing, you can now take that skill and use it to begin to move forward. And maybe you want to develop it further. Maybe the skill is the beginning of a capability. I had many people who recognize my skill in the kitchen. I really enjoy it. It's my hobby. It's not something I wanted to build into a vocation, but had I wanted to, I probably could have taken that skill, my skill at cooking, and moved it in and developed my capability into providing food for others, restaurant, catering, whatever. So I want you to start really thinking, what are those skills that you can now use? And sometimes those skills that you had, I think of a woman who was a CNA who used that CNA training to earn an income, to get her college degree and then move on to get her medical license. Sometimes those skills can be used along the road to developing new skills. Actually, my daughter-in-law is using her skill as a nanny, in part to help care for a family member as she's finishing her degree. She's not an addict in recovery, but that's the concept. We don't have to be addicts in recovery. At some point, when we've been abstinent for a few years, we're not all that different than other people. So take an inventory of your assets, skills, and capabilities. And let's start focusing on those capabilities. And let's start dreaming. Because you'll see it if you believe it. And if you believe you can get something done, if you believe you can achieve something, with rare exceptions, you probably can. So that's where we're going. And in the next step, in Sequel 5S, we'll talk about admitting to God, to yourself, and another human being the exact nature of your potential. Because if nobody knows, nobody's going to expect, and you won't feel obligated. Kind of like this podcast series, I finally committed and told a couple of people I had the technological skill and I had the willingness and I was going to do it. And I promise you, had I not shared that, you may not be listening to me right now, but I did. At any rate, I'm way ahead of myself. We're talking about Sequel 5S. I just want you to list your assets, what you have that you can use to build on recovery capital, what your skill set is, which may help inform what your capabilities are. And as you're putting this list together, think creative. Talk to other people who know you. They may give you feedback as to what they see as your assets and skills. And keep it simple, but make it fun. Thanks, and have a great day.